My name is host Eric. I'm the host of Talking with Famous People. And despite my intention to bring my glasses with me out here to the garage when I started this, I forgot them. That's alright, we're just out here for a cigarette, then we'll go inside where I have a TV to look at. I can read the comments better. My eyes are getting even worse than they were before. I probably just need a lot of sleep right now. They're tired eyes, you know. Tired of looking at things. What's up? Well, what's up to you as well? Alright, I can't read the chat right now. Wait till we get back inside and I get my glasses. I just came out here for a early stream bong rip. Early stream cigarette, you know. Meant to bring my glasses with me. Didn't. Now I'm suffering from lamentations of remorse. But I will be back inside in a minute and then we'll read your chats. Really infuriating dealing with hearing about Jeffrey's difficulties. He wants to write the essay he wants to write to get into college that he wants to go to. I'm hearing things like, but he has to have a letter of recommendation from his college counselor. His high school counselor for college, you know. No. The high school cannot force you to include a counselor letter of recommendation in your college admissions. Why are 3 counselors looking at his essay, giving him each different pieces of advice, none of them good? Why is that happening? Why is nobody caring at all about truth, justice, and the American way? Is it really true that when you apply to college, if your essay is full of a story about how you overcame hardship, that you're more likely to get in? Could that possibly be the case? I mean, can you imagine being one of the people who sits there and reads all those horrible essays? It would be absolutely torture. The last thing you want to read is another sob story about how I had asthma as a kid and I'm yeah. How dumb. Did you say, I can't read that. I need my glasses. I need to keep them around my neck all the time, all day since I've been awake. I've not had my glasses. I've needed them multiple times and I've squinted and tried to, what does that say? I just need to have my glasses. I almost wish my eyes were worse so that I just needed to wear glasses all the time. Instead, I have to take them on, put them off. Horrible. Carl Jung had a quote. That's what this title is referenced to. It says, life begins at 40. Everything before that is just research. I think that that's probably true for all intellectuals types, smart people who attend to intellectual matters or whatever, is that they're slow to grow up. The developmental phase, for example, of ENTPs is extremely protracted. Maturity comes late, if at all. But for me, I think I'm fully mature at this point, you know. Like, I've done I've done most of the learning I'm going to need to do. There will always be new things to learn, obviously, but in terms of my area of life focus, like in terms of my philosophy thinking and my typology thinking, uh, I still don't think I'm at the peak of my growth as a musical artist at all. I think I've got a ways to go there. But I may never get there, so it's hard to say. As far as like knowing what's correct and all that kind of stuff, I'm definitely fully mature. There's not going to be any more paradigm shifting revelations in my lifetime. But that doesn't mean that most people would call me mature. In fact, most people would call me extremely immature. I don't really think that's accurate, but I understand why they would say that. Say I'm like 99.99% sure I'm INFP, but I don't feel I struggle that much with TI. Yeah, that makes perfectly good sense. There are plenty of INFPs who do quite well on TI tests. Eighth slot is autopilot, but quite effective in certain ways, right? So for me, SE is quite effective in the sense that I do a lot of stuff. Just look how many videos I put up, right? But it's not something that I willfully utilize in circumstances when it would be ideal to willfully utilize it. So INFPs can have very strong TI when tested, but when you're talking to them about some issue, they're likely to say something like, "Yeah, but that you're just parsing this too black and white. It's a lot more nuanced than that with all these feelings things going on." So in actual applications, you're not really using TI when it's appropriate to use it, maybe, but um, because it's always functioning in service of your dominant function. If you feel like you want to validate, if you feel like you want this to be valid, then you'll validate it and find out if it's valid or not. But you're not going to feel that very often. So, like, I'm not really very good at SEing all the things that I'm supposed to SE, but I'm good in some contexts. Did you see the stat of Brown University? One white kid got in. It's funny. Well, I'm not worried about the race thing or whatever. I believe that inside every old person, there's a young person wondering what the hell happened. Well, it's like I don't feel like an old person. No, it's not an abortion. It's not an abortion lecture. It's referencing a Carl Jung quote that says, "Life begins at 40. Before that, you're just doing research," which I thought was kind of a funny quote. Carl Jung's got some good quotes. Uh, some of them are great informative things, but a lot of them are projections of his function bias. Like, the shoe that fits one person pinches another. There's no recipe for living that suits all cases. That's true. And this is very much an INFJ quote, though. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become. Okay. Another quote here. He who is afraid needs dependence. Uh, if you're a gifted person, it doesn't mean you get something, it means you can give something away. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. True. The least of things. Hold on. The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. Very INFJ quote. Shame is a soul eating emotion. What a great little metaphor that is. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. It's advice to himself. Midlife is the time to let go of an overdominant ego and to contemplate the deeper significance of human existence. Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic is alcohol, morphine, or idealism. Wholeness is not achieved by cutting out a proportion of one's being, but by integration of the contraries. We are born in a given moment, in a given place, and like vintage years of wine, we have the qualities of the year and the season in which we are born. Oh, you mean the terroir, Carl Jung? I've got the terroir of Panorama City. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. You can't really make the unconscious conscious. You can just be aware of its unconsciousness. The healthy man does not torture others. Generally, it is the tortured who turn into torturers. A man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions can never overcome them. Not sure what that means. People grow like plants, some in light, others in shade. There are many who need shade, not light. The introverts cry. Oh, that the introverts cry. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. Well, that's good advice for. Woe to those who live by examples. There is no life in them. If you live by example, you live the life of that example. But who will live your life but yourself? So live your own life. This is sort of an anti-SI sentiment. Man cannot stand a meaningless life. Well, intuitives can't. Shrinking away from death is something unhealthy and abnormal which robs the second half of life of its purpose. Where love rules, there is no will to power, and where power predominates, love is lacking. The one is the shadow of the other. So true, Carl Jung. So true. The greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved, but only outgrown. Man can endure the hardest trials if he sees meaning in them. The whole difficulty lies in creating that meaning. Again, intuitive bias, like the INFJ maybe, but what we walk away from, shying away from, ostensibly forgetting, is dangerously close to us and eventually will return, but with redoubled force. So, yeah, face your problems, I guess. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. Again, that's a very INFJ quote. In each of us, there is another whom we do not know. Again, a very INFJ quote. Depression is like a woman in black. If she turns up, don't shoo her away. Invite her in, offer her a seat, treat her like a guest, and listen to what she wants to say. Again, very introvert quote. Where wisdom reigns, there is no conflict between thinking and feeling. Very NITI absolute values. Knowledge rests not upon truth alone, but also upon error. True that. Every human life contains a potential. If that potential is not fulfilled, then their life was wasted. Well, maybe. It's a hard one to substantiate. If an attractive woman is single, it's because she's smarter than everyone else. The meaning of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there's any reaction, both are transformed. Don't hold on to someone who's leaving, otherwise you won't meet the one who's coming. On your face. Don't rush to help those who haven't asked you to, because not everyone who is drowning needs a hand. Some want to drown. Good point, Carl. Good point. Most people consider themselves very knowledgeable in psychology for one simple reason. Psychology for them comes down to what they know about themselves. True. As any change must begin somewhere, the single individual who will undergo it and carry it through. The change must begin with one individual. It might be any one of us. Nobody can afford to look around and to wait for someone else to do what he is loath to do himself. We have. Oh, that's the end of this little quotes video I was watching. It looks like that was a recommendation to a Jordan Peterson video, the title which was, "It took me 50 years to learn this. Don't share your personal life with anyone." Oh, am I doing it wrong, Jordan Peterson? Am I living wrong? Thinking is hard, and that's why people judge. That's also a projection of INFJ third slot TI. Because, you know, my gut reaction, being a different type than Carl Jung was when I was younger anyway. Um, Thinking is easy. Why are people giving me so much trouble? You know? In bread, we do trust. Bread is a truly loyal and noble friend. Every time I want to go lie down on him, he's just there waiting for me, saying, "Come on in, have a lie down." And I do. And it's pretty exciting. These are just some of the things that happen around here. The first half of life should be devoted to developing a healthy ego, and the second half of life should be letting go of that healthy ego. I mean, that's a very NI. That's very. It's it's treating one's subjectivities as as objective projects. You know, that's not how people operate. Maybe INFJs operate like that, but not most people. One of the most interesting quotes I have read from Jung is the one that says, "A mind that is collectively oriented is unable to think in any other way than projection." I mean, what does collectively oriented mean? What is he actually talking about? The problem with Jung is that he doesn't use his own cognitive functions to understand things in general. He just thinks that's just a piece of a larger puzzle or something, when it's actually the entirety of his genius. He may have plenty of fun quotes, but um, his his vague gesturings at NI resonant things don't do much for me intellectually. It just seems like somebody who's who desires to make people go, hmm, without actually understanding anything. No, I'm not growing it out or anything like that. It's just I don't get around to cutting my hair very often. Because, I got to get out the clippers and I got to go. Well, Jung does as good a job as anybody I've ever encountered at making his NI really seem like he's on to something here. There's some magical thing going on underneath here. But at the end of the day, there is no collective unconscious. That's ridiculous. We are we are equipped with fundamentally the same kind of hardware, so it's natural that independently, without any connectivity, human beings are going to end up, recognizing and embracing the same basic symbols and stuff. Now, as far as like synchronicities and stuff, I think we should celebrate the fact that Jung gave us a word for that. But, you know, it can be best understood simply as people are designed to make links between things, make connections, sometimes to derive meanings or conclude upon meanings, etc. But the vast majority of people aren't very deft with the meaning stuff because they're the majority. The majority are not in an in the one or two. So that means meanings are to some extent a deficit area for them. And we got synchronicities like this lady was talking to Jung about a dream of a blue scarab beetle, then one appears in the window. I mean, that's best explained simply by law of large numbers. Those kind of things are going to happen occasionally because there's so many opportunities for something like that to happen. You're going to remember the instances when they do, and you're going to think, wow, that's really trippy. But there's never going to be any resolution of it into a good explanation. It's like, how trippy was it, and does it remain, that Rachel and I received in the mail as returned with insufficient postage on the doorstep of the old Arcadia house 5 pounds of weed and 2 ounces of mushrooms. Like, that makes me go, okay, the world is silly in some way, or scripted, or fake, or whatever, because how could it possibly be the case that the exact drugs that Rachel and I wanted to do a lot, smoke weed, and at the time I wanted to do mushrooms a lot, that somebody's trying to, some dark web drug deal, some guy's sending these things off to different states, etc., and has insufficient postage on all of them, and has put our address as his return address because there's nobody there at that house because it's being sold, presumably. Um, I mean, it can be explained as simply coincidence. I know we didn't manifest them, believe me. We did not manifest them. Our magical thinking explanation is my dad pulled some strings in heaven to get us those weeds and mushrooms because he didn't want us wasting his money on weed. That's our magical thinking theory. I mean, the thing is, across the board, all the stuff that has happened to me and Rachel from the very beginning has seemed very slabular. It has been full of synchronicities. It's been full of both initially like challenges and stuff that we had to overcome together, but it was defined for a long time um, by the fact that we were maintaining a relationship in an awful situation, but it it neither strengthened nor weakened our relationship, right? Because our relationship is ni correct. It is we are who we're meant to be with, and uh, and so it didn't matter that we were in a terrible circumstance, except that it sucks for both of us. It was still never. I don't think either of us ever questioned after the initial. Obviously, when you first start going out with somebody for the first few months, there's a uncertainty about whether it's the right person, just because you don't have enough. You don't have enough experience to really know for sure. Um, but after that point, I don't think either of us ever even conceived of the possibility that it would be better if we weren't together. No matter how shitty it got, we both were on entirely the same page that it's better with each other than it would be by ourselves. And then here we find ourselves, you know, with this completely different life than the one that made up the first 3+ years of our relationship. And of course, also, it's not the case that we were bonding around that difficulty. In the absence of it, we're just as happy together as more happy because we have reasons to be happy. Um, there's an inner clarity to being in the right relationship that's like kind of smacks you in the head like a 2x4, because if you're like 99% of the people in the world, you've been in multiple, if you're an adult, say in your 40s anyway, let's just say that. You're an adult who's been in multiple relationships, probably more than one marriage, or at least one marriage, and you've yet to ever be with the right person. You've yet to ever be in a relationship where you truly like are delighted to be with the other person, and vice versa, where there's not any sitting across the table from you wishing I could run, where there aren't periodic fights, disagreements, and otherwise, you know, like picking at each other, where there's not, you're in a state of, in a place where both parties feel affirmed in full for who they are rather than for who they could be. You know, anybody who loves you for who you might become does not love you. You know, but of course, that's what most people think about relationships as things that need attention and work, compromise. Um, that you know, no two people are ever really that well matched for each other that there's not some friction between them. There really isn't any friction between me and Rachel. There might occasionally be instances of a little bit of snapping at each other or something like that, but they're so far and few between. and so anomalous that, I mean, it's functionally our relationship is entirely free from any blaming each other for things, expecting things from each other, criticizing each other, uh, all of those things, and yeah, every other bad behavior that you see people in relationships engage in. As we were walking through the supermarket the other day, I heard this girl say to her boyfriend, "You never listen to me." But she was like talking, trying to talk quiet because she didn't want to make a scene, you know. Um, they need to break up right this second. There's the thing about it is, once you experienced being in the correct relationship, you realize how what folly it is for people to stay together even when they're the kind of couple where one of them is saying that to the other person. They're clearly not meant to be together if she's saying, "You never listen to me." She's probably the one with the problem. He's probably listening to her just fine. That kind of talk, both the criticism and the fact that she used never, are both indicative of the fact that she's not good at being in a relationship. But it's hard to say just from that one instance what was going on. Regardless, what I do know was going on is two people were in a relationship who should not have been in a relationship together. Because this may be true for SX types and not true for SO or SP as far as sexual variant goes. Because I do think that's a good taxonomy of people's approaches to relationships. Makes good intuitive sense. There's no way to really validate it or anything, but I like it as a taxonomy. It doesn't run afoul of cognitive functions. I don't think it has anything to do with Enneagram. I don't know. I guess the same guy came up with both ideas, but they're not linked at all. But I've seen plenty of examples of each of those variants expressing as I understand them to express, namely SX types being really into being in a relationship, a long-term relationship, and like being part of a couple. SO, like my ex-wife, she viewed the couple as part of a larger group. SP, like I can think of these people, Paul and what was Kimberly's mom's name? They were both SP about their relationship. They didn't want to live in the same house. You sometimes hear about celebrity couples who maintain different residences because they're SPs. It's very plausible, conceivable that you could have a healthy, happy SP couple that doesn't live together, even though they've been together. Maybe they're married, but maintain separate residences, separate finances, everything, and are still a perfectly healthy, happy couple because that's just how SPs are. They don't. They want a relation. They want a relationship partner that doesn't redefine their understanding of self from me to us. I watched some of C.S. Joseph's street typings. Man, that fellow is a character. He gets the archetypes wrong. However, his crusaders do not meet the definition of a crusader. How does he do it? Like, what does he do when he street types them? Does he just look at them and say what type they are? Or does he ask them questions or what? Well, I mean, that's not my experience with my daughter, Winston's mom, but there's also an issue of character. Like, not all ESTPs are people of character. Just because ESTP Joe, let's say, is a player, sleeps around a lot, whatever, despite having a girlfriend or something, that doesn't mean ESTP James is going to be like that, because that's really a problem of character, not a type thing. If you're not, if you're a cheater, you have a you have a lack of character. It doesn't mean that everybody who's ever cheated on somebody should be held in disdain, because I know lots of us make youthful mistakes and learn from them, right? But maybe like two or three questions, and then he starts telling them their type descriptions. Okay, I'm gonna have to make an uploaded video called "Not Everything's a Race." Typing somebody is not like Civil War surgery. The goal here isn't to saw your leg off as quickly as possible. Instead, typology is more like any other kind of assessment. There's a reason why the SAT takes 4 hours to take, right? Because they're trying to assess a student's knowledge, learning, whatever. Yeah, I haven't gotten any sessions recently, which is fine. I don't feel like doing it at all. There's one lady I gotta get back to who missed her typing session. I gotta see if she wants to reschedule or whatever, but I've been dragging my feet on that. Um, so, you know, like for example, let's say you go to the doctor's office and you say, "Doc, there's something wrong with me." And he goes, "Is it above or below the waist?" And you go, "Above." And he goes, "Do you have a cough?" And you go, "No." The doctor goes, "It's stomach cancer." "Wow, doc, you really are fast. Any chance you want to verify that in any way or double check? Maybe do a test of some sort?" Goat intestines would be a better way. It's like a better way of typing people than his way. The thing is, I wouldn't want C.S. Joseph as my surgeon because, after all, getting the job done in 5 seconds is not going to prioritize the right thing, right? You want to get the job done right when you have a surgeon working on you, not quickly. I wouldn't want C.S. Joseph as a sex partner if I were a girl, because being finished in 5 seconds, that's not, it may, maybe sometimes that might happen, but it doesn't mean you are winning the race or something. Similarly, like, let me tell you who you are fundamentally because of your attentional configuration in 5 seconds. I mean, that's the ultimate TE absolute value, right? The more efficiently I can get through this, the better. After all, the whole type thing is only purposed so I can tell these people about their type description. Um, and it's like nobody can really prove that I'm spewing bullshit. So perfect, just what I need. I just go through a little bit of typing theater and then get to the part I find more useful. It's ridiculous. You're talking about trying to understand the complexity of another human being in a very powerful way that prior to correctly understanding cognitive functions, I did not have at my disposal, and neither did anybody else. But accordingly, because humans are fundamentally nuanced and express themselves for different reasons, um, posture or position themselves in different ways or don't, depending on a variety of factors, to to presume that you can type somebody with just a couple of questions and by looking at them, it's to do a great disservice to human consciousness itself, right? And to each person you're talking to. That person is a complex, nuanced, individual human being with an identity and various ontological self concept things going on, more or less susceptible to being influenced by random things they say, potentially in harmful ways, especially if you're, I mean, if you're wrong and you're telling them things about themselves and they are certain types or certain situations or whatever, um, those words may have a negative impact on them. You know, not everybody thinks the truth is just instrumental to do with your own purposes. Bam, 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 yeah. For some of us, truth is an absolute value, and for some people, they are they don't necessarily have great subjective epistemologies. That's to say, they don't know subjectively, they don't decide subjectively. Then they're looking to external sources for information about themselves, and to to the extent that they are have like a weak self concept or low self esteem or something, any of those things, like let's say you're telling them something positive about type Mia, and they don't really have good access to their subjective understanding of themselves, then they might be like, okay, well, cool. I guess I am that then. And then they'll find themselves feeling like over time, like, well, I should be good at that, but I'm not. Or I should be this person, but I'm not. What's wrong with me? There's a genuine risk, right? Because it's not the, it, it's a mistake I used to make as well. I used to underestimate the power of the weight of the responsibility of telling somebody else who they are and what it means, right? As you can see with the Melissa Talks drama, um, Melissa Talks is so appalled by somebody else telling her who she is that she wanted to sue me and Jack. By Iago Ferrer. No problem. I would say no, Boba Fett, because I mean everything about what he's doing is instrumental in I, right? He's making things concise, giving a single pat explanation. Um, he's projecting the instrumental NI onto all the people who are listening to him, he's assuming also want simple, reductive, in his case, wrong, um, nuggets that they will use for their own purposes, which are also utilitarianly framed. He doesn't understand what the functions are, like, so he doesn't get what he's doing. He's not doing the metacognition that one needs to do if one's going to both understand cognitive functions, understand how to talk about them, and be correct. Right? It's not just yeah, exactly. She I think I'm completely right about my hypothesis that she believes the ongoing string of people challenging her type represents followers of me or Jack having been told what to think and just going with that. In reality, everybody who encounters her thinks, who knows anything about typology, thinks she's not an EHB because she so obviously isn't. I still need to find my glasses. Glasses. Ooh, ah, ooh. Yes, I need to find my glasses. Ooh, ah, ooh. I will put them on my face. Whoa, 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 glasses. It doesn't constitute libel at all because she's got herself double bound, right? Either it's arbitrary and she can just choose what type she is, in which case, then we can arbitrarily say she's not that type. Or it's non arbitrary, in which case she's wrong. In either regard, to establish that we've done anything wrong in the current situation, she'd have to establish that we willfully intended to do her harm and misrepresented our actual beliefs in order to attain that harm. But so, in other words, we don't even have to be right for it not to be liable. We just have to not have been lying. And we clearly were not lying. And there's clearly no personal vendetta against her or anything. The problem she has is, the problem anybody has is trying to sue me is if you just watch watch my videos and listen to what I'm saying, you're gonna side with me because she's I don't think she even watched the video that made her so upset. I don't think she did. because after all, we didn't even throw her on the slammer, you know? We said not enough evidence. But it makes me worry about society, right? Like when you've got people who have so much disdain for another person's free speech as to sue you, like Michelle Schacht is doing, or threaten to sue you, like Melissa talks, because they don't like what you're saying about them publicly, even though you're not saying anything slanderous, libelous, or even mean spirited. A new visitor. Is your name, what is that, a handkerchief? Is that your name? Handkerchief? It's an interesting name. I think we should blame TV shows where there's always this witty, sarcastic smartass, but I guess people want to be that character. Yeah, people act like intelligence is manna in an isekai. In isekai, they get reborn. They usually have, they're usually pretty OP, overpowered, So they get born as a baby, and then they get tested for their amount of mana they have, and it breaks the testing machine because they've got so much mana. And people people think about intelligence and like creativity is like that. I want to be the the genius artist one or whatever. I get it, you know. Genius artist is pretty cool if you can somehow manage to do it. It's very hard to do. Um, Beyond me, this far in my life, I'm still playing in the minor leagues. But but the thing is, the reason why people want to be ENTP so badly is because they don't understand the type as comprising its deficits, just its strengths. So that what they really like to be then is the ENTP who's gotten over the problems that come along with being an ENTP, thanks to their excellent TE. So, get ESTJs going. I'm an ENTP. I just figured out how to not be, like starting projects that don't finish and stuff. I can show you the trick. It's really straightforward. It's about goals, and it's like, oh, fuck you. Or ESFPs think they're ENTPs because, hey, I'm wacky. Hey, you're not even wacky. You're just faking being wacky, like Club ESFP, right? And if he thinks that's what, like, does he think that's what I'm like? It almost seems like that channel is designed to imitate me, but he doesn't has no idea how to do that because we're totally different types, and you can't you can't any like I can any if you're an ESFP. You certainly can't TI at all. But of course, he wants his cake and eat it too. He wants to have all the advantages of being an ESFP and all the advantages of being an ENTP. And he doesn't care that those advantages ensue from actual skills and abilities that he lacks. It's called a very weak relationship with maps. What state are we in? I don't know. Pull out the map from the glove compartment. What does it say on it? California. Well, I guess we must be in California then. Okay, but we are driving east and just recently left Colorado. Well, the map says California. We're in California. Would you like to go to the beach? Yeah, but how do you even know that's the right map? Because I want it to be California. I want to be in California, so I got a California map. Have you used it? Sure. In fact, I started a YouTube channel about fun things you can do in California. Isn't that a fantastic analogy? Not only have I not yet realized it's the wrong map, I've built an entire internet business around my expertise regarding California. That's a great analogy. I should upload that as its own video. That's exactly what's happening, you know. You've got Club ESFP, Melissa Talks, and they bought a California map. So they started channels about Club California and California Talks. And, they keep talking about California. Melissa Talks, she goes like, let's see. California features several very large cities, as many as 4, depending on how you count them. And the capital, Sacramento, and it's got fishing piers that don't require a fishing license. And you might want to visit Solvang someday. It's an old Swedish village. And she just looked all this shit up on Wikipedia, right? And so people start asking, have you ever actually been to California? Where in California exactly are you? And she goes, the map, I'm in California, see the map? And people go, I don't think you're in California. And she removes their comments. And then I come around and say, I'm the geography police, and I say, I can't tell from the amount of scenery I can see exactly what state you're in, but I can guarantee you it's not California, because that kind of overgrown, swampy, jungly stuff is not found here in the state. But I don't really have absolutely enough evidence. You could be in an arboretum or something potentially. So I'm going to have to let you go. But I'm pretty sure you're not in California. And then she goes, I'm a professional California talker. I'm suing you because you're messing with my business. And throughout, it never occurs to her to verify or validate the fact in any way, shape, or form that she's in California. She never tries to drive to Sacramento and find out if she's in California. She never tries to go to an in and out, Club ESFP, meanwhile, presumably thinks that ENTPs like to hang out together and have a club. Comes around here, acts exactly like an ESFP, with provocations that go nowhere, that are just designed to elicit some kind of emotional response. And when and then when asked questions or challenged on what he's saying, just shift ground to another totally unrelated point. And presumably thinks he's acting like me, right? Like, that's what Eric's doing. Which, of course, is not even close, remotely related at all, anything close to what I'm doing. Well, what are you doing, Eric? That's hard. That's a hard question to answer. I'm doing a variety of things, okay? Mostly these days it seems to be live streaming, but I'm uploading some videos too, you know. When Eric gets mad about something, a little rant here and there. You got Dave Superpowers, who purports to be a scammer buster, but is in fact actually himself possibly unknowingly a huge scammer. Meanwhile, you've got me over here speaking the truth about typology and so forth and other things, and not trying to make a bunch of money off of it, and being absolutely open to and responsive to questions and ways to give people real answers. And nobody cares. I definitely don't have the bully pulpit in typology. Rachel was telling me earlier that like jumper shit is all over Reddit threads regarding MBTI, you know. So, but the thing is, it's simply because obviously, like, McDonald's is more convenient than making burgers at home. Obviously, microwave dinner is more convenient than making my own chicken parmesan. And in this instance, like reductive, incorrect NI and or overwrought, overly NE'd TI, as per socionics, they're easier and more desirable to consume for different kinds of parties. For a lot of intuitives are going to be drawn to socionics because it's complicated. They're going to see that there's plenty of TI there. They'll note that they fixed something that's genuinely wrong with MBTI and see it as a genuinely preferable alternative, which it is, and maybe get lost in its endless vagaries and so forth, to no good effect, because without a proper understanding of the basic overall framing, what are we doing? We're modeling human consciousness. How are we going to do that? We're going to define fields, we're going to define objects. Some kinds of objects will be agents. Agents are objects that can engage with vectors. We'll have data be objects that can engage with agents. And you can show, and you have 4 fields and a prime directive, which expresses that each configuration is ultimately a strategy of attaining that. And then you can model it and model it correctly. So socionics will say information metabolizing, except only some kinds of attention metabolize data. Action functions don't, Interface functions go through switch periods of producing objects on the external metaphysical field, usually, or physical, depending on your body language, smiles, whatever, and then receiving responsive information and then metabolizing that. Interfaces metabolize with the knowledge function. Action types or deliberators metabolize with the deliberation function. So, like, that kind of sloppiness with terms, saying that all attentional manners are ways of metabolizing information, means you're going to try to understand. If you're taking that at face value and trying to make that work, you're going to try to understand the action functions, SE and NE, as information metabolizing, which they simply are not, you know? So, does it matter that much, Eric, if they're just a little bit wrong in this area or that area? Yeah, of course it does. Because when you, like Jack typed Melissa Talks as an ENFJ. He should, at some point, recognize that being FI polar puts us at a disadvantage when it comes to recognizing FI. But even I could see the FI rampant in that woman, right? She's so ruled by her emotions, it's ridiculous. I need to find my glasses. I'm looking for my glasses, darling. Oh. Are they in here? No. What did I do with my glasses? I wonder where they went. Me too. Maybe I put them in my asses, 2 of which I sent to Europe for refurbishing. Oh, glasses loser. I'm a professional glasses loser.
You look styling in that jacket, though.
Thanks, darling. Are they in here? No. Why, oh why? Oh why, oh why? Must I lose my glasses, sigh? Is it 'cause I'm always high? No, I think not, and here's why. In my youth, I too then did lose glasses, but the kinds with lid, or other objects I might have. I'd lose them willy-nilly. Yeah. There's my poem. I can make a little poem about it, but no can do on the Find My Glasses, apparently. So, and that's what attentional manner is all about, right? I can't find my glasses because I have SI fourth, the deficit area. I can make up a fly little poem off the cuff. Yeah, this is Dad's house. Unlike me, he's not honest about it. So when I was living at my dad's house, he's living at his dad's house too. But he's trying to control everyone's perceptions about him in a poor way. By wearing a wig, not being open about that, living in his dad's house, not being open about that. He's opening himself up to this, right? Like, why am I kind of immune to criticism? Well, because I'm transparent. I'm not trying to posture as something I'm not. He thinks he's successfully shaping people's perceptions of him, but here's what happens when you try to do that. Mr. Bobby says he's got a really nice home, but I already know that that's not his house. He probably did that on purpose in response to me having a nice house. Yeah, I see it. Just rewatched it now. He's definitely making sure the camera captures how nice that home is. Yeah, for sure. And I get that. I might do that on. Like in the. I made sure the house looked nice before people came for the wedding, for sure. But when we first moved here, obviously I showed people around the house and stuff. But I don't think about it at all now, obviously. And the thing is, it's like I've lived in different places. I lived in Temple City in a house that I rented for 20 years. I lived. What's he annoyed by? He was talking about me? Well, I mean, he comes up periodically, sure. But, um, so yeah, it definitely was influenced by that. Wow. Like, I give a fuck, right? I'm not impressed by anybody's nice house. And I'm much more impressed with somebody who's open and honest living in a tiny apartment than I am with somebody who's trying to posture and failing. Did he mention me in the short? Essentially, so he didn't technically name me. He said there's a certain YouTuber or whatever. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. Mrs. Bong, I agree with Bobby. Could you send this? Could you put that link? I'm curious. Like, what do people? What is this recent? He says he recently uploaded. Karma spent. Mr. Bobby already answered that. He said he recently uploaded it. So what has incited all this like um re-hating Eric all of a sudden? Oh. What a silly goose. Let me see what he says.
MBTI content creator is once again, calling me out as a fraud, saying I'm not an ENTP, saying that I'm potentially mental and dangerous, and also that I'm projecting.
I never said he was dangerous, did I? Did I ever say he was dangerous? I'm pretty sure I never said that. Unless he's Michael Smith. Yeah, I don't think I ever called him dangerous. I have no idea what he's talking about. Well, right. Because the thing is, I did call Michael Smith dangerous or potentially dangerous. Right. Yeah, he's not Michael Smith, but that's the only person I've called dangerous, not him. I do sometimes call people who spout nonsense dangerous. Well, I refer to the the uh, the arrogance of people who don't know what they're talking about, telling other people things about themselves that are unjustified. I think that's fundamentally dangerous. Yeah, I think it's dangerous to have people presenting themselves as ENTPs, not actually being ENTPs, muddying the water further. But I don't remember ever saying specifically about him that he was dangerous. Like um, I was worried about him attacking me or something. Well, I don't doubt that he periodically watches my content. You will note, of course, that I never watch his. Well, I felt like Michael Smith, I was saying, okay, this guy might be dangerous. Like he's. Uh, so I did say that about him. I could be totally wrong. Hopefully I am. But I did say that about him. But I don't recall ever really saying that about Clubby SFP. I don't think he's dangerous. I'm not worried about him attacking me or something in that regard. I think I'd be much more likely to say that it is dangerous to have people out there representing a type they're not and providing information to people about that. But I might say that, but I don't think I'd say he's dangerous about him. I don't think I ever have because I don't believe he is. And right, it doesn't suggest physical violence anyway. The way I use it like that, you're right about that. Sad chic. But anyway, I mean, most of all, it's a situation where he wanted to come here and engage with me on his terms, right? But this is my YouTube channel. I don't want to engage with him on his terms. I don't want to play the game that he wants to play with me, right? And if I want to play with him, I know perfectly well where his channel is. And if he would like to have me over to play, that would be fine. But I don't want to play with him. And I certainly don't want him hijacking my channel for his purposes, my streams for his purposes, etc. He didn't seem to get that because he kept saying, like, don't you want views? Well, like, as a general principle, sort of, yeah, sure. but am I going to endure the torture that is engaging that man in order to get views? No. Yeah, I think that must be what happened. I, yeah, I'll make a video and upload it as a response. I mean, I think it is fair to say that people who have mistyped themselves or using their subjective decision making calculus to determine their type, and then making YouTube channels representing that type, purporting to both display the attentional habits of and the typical affect or display of an ENTP, for example, yeah, that's doing harm because obviously whatever information anybody gives credence to, well, it depends on the kind of information, right? If anything that anybody intuits from the media about ENTPs based on how that particular ENTP makes media is going to be wrong. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Now, Justin Timberlake wrote that, I guess, specifically for McDonald's. I don't think they took it from a song. I think he wrote that jingle for McDonald's. They hired him to write it. MB loving it. Okay, well, I could be wrong, Mr. Bobby. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. Even though it pains my heart to be wrong. Nevertheless, I too am not Jesus. Just as Jesus never sinned, therefore he was never wrong. If you were wrong, well, wrongness and sin go hand in hand, I'll tell you. Well, I'm not Jesus. That means sometimes I'm wrong, and also sometimes I sin. Hopefully as little as possible. I don't commit any big sins, but I'd like to get as close to 0 sins as possible. Yeah, well, I was messing around with possible chords and melodies for that earlier, and I've got some ideas, but if it's gonna come together, it's got to be really live up to the lyrics, which are also getting edited down to fit the music a little bit. In general, with lyrics, fewer words are better. Simpler expressions of a concept are better. Both simpler and fewer words. If you can get both. But that's not always the case. It's only a general rule, so just don't face this reality and apply it automatically. Because sometimes it's not the case, and you need a lot of words in a certain place, like right there. For example, oh yeah, oh yeah. That was a pretty good little song. I mean, I don't think that's just being particularly humble. It's probably to say I'm not Jesus. You're setting the bar for humility pretty low. Anybody who thinks they're Jesus is, they're just deluded, you know? They think, I never sin and I'm never wrong. They're just experiencing delusions. I think actually that I am the Virgin Mary because Delilah was born and my hymen was still intact. So my only explanation is I must be the Virgin Mary. It seems like a reasonable explanation. And it also explains my love of mangers, my lifelong desire for myrrh. Because, you know, the wise men gave the myrrh, it gave Jesus the myrrh. But Mary just totally bogarted it. And Jesus didn't even get to have hardly any of it. She had post pregnancy myrrh cravings. How many myrrh fans do we have here tonight? Show of hands. Frankincense? Any frankincense fans? How about parsley, sage, rosemary, or thyme? No, none of those things? Okay. Well, how about parsnips? Anybody here a fan of parsnips? Me? Not so much. You know what else I'm not a fan of? Cauliflower, squash, zucchini, um, eggplant, sweet potatoes. Yeah, to all of those. Cabbage in general, I don't like. Red cabbage salad, like in a boat, is pretty good. Other foods that are bad. Let me think. Remember, it's not just that I don't like them, it's that they're bad. In reality, unlike music, food doesn't really work that way. So with music, some people are correct and some people are incorrect in their tastes because that requires NI, which is an objective knowing function. But with food, which requires SI, it's not an objective knowing function, so it's not incorrect to like that food better than this one, or like this one better than that one. It's just people having different tastes. Because we didn't have cognitive functions, people had no way to explain why art shouldn't be thought of as the same kind of in the same kind of subjective ways as taste in food is, you know. Meanwhile, you got people on the other side attempting to NI food and body stuff with their stupid like celery and giraffe meat only diet. In the morning, have 10 ounces of giraffe meat and 3 pieces of celery. At lunch, 12 pieces of celery. And then at dinner, have both 10 ounces of giraffe meat plus a half ounce of giraffe marrow and you can have up to 20 celeries. And you'll find you're full. You'll find you are happy, healthy, and the pounds will just drop right off. Plus, you'll find yourself at random moments as you pass under trees on sidewalks, you'll crane up, trying to reach up to the leaves with your mouth. And that's just the giraffe meat passing through your system. Don't worry about it. It does create temporary impulses to chew leaves from high places on trees, but since your neck won't actually grow, you just have to realize what's happening, tell yourself stop, and keep moving on. Like, you never really see any restaurants serving giraffe meat. I wonder why that is. Is it because giraffes aren't delicious? Or is it because people feel bad because they're so big? There aren't that many of them, probably. There's probably plenty of them, though. How do they even have sex? How do giraffes have sex with those? It's like just to drink water, they gotta go like boop, 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 spread their legs all apart just to lean down and drink water. Sex must be very awkward for them. I tell you, what species uses the C.S. Joseph typing method for sex is peacocks. I watched a male have sex with a female peacock one time, and it was over in literally like 5 seconds. She like walked in front of him and like pretended to drop something and like bent over or like squatted down a little bit, like she was pecking at something, and he just went and rah, like went on top of her, and she went hey squeak, and he made this horrible sound that peacocks make when they come, and then got off her and she ran away. It was over like that. And she rejoined her female companions, and they're like, "Oh my God, did you just have sex with Barry?" C.S. Joseph. And oh, Club ESFP. You find that people use the frankincense and myrrh plant for dozens, if not hundreds, of purposes, from helping you get pregnant to helping your cows produce milk. Huh. So I guess I'll have to upload a video response to his short. Um, drama, drama everywhere, but not a drop to drink. I should uh, I should get a beverage for myself from the fridge. Everybody right now who has horses, Can you just hold them for a second? Because no, that's not how I roll with his mom. He he said something. He said I called him dangerous. So I gotta respond to that and say I don't believe I've ever said that. I don't believe it to be the case. And if I said anything like that, he's taken it out of context. Um, but most likely he's heard comments I did call recently Michael Smith dangerous or potentially dangerous. And I that's how I feel. I don't have any good certain cause to really assert that. Maybe I shouldn't have asserted that, but it wasn't about Club ESFP anyway. Do I have any sugar cubes? No, you know what I'll do? I'll sit next to my trash can with full of trash and do it like that. All right, so yeah, horses. Or I'm sorry, I don't want to make you hold your horses too long. Just hold your horses for a second. And you know what's funny, Bobby, is no, I didn't really look at his house at all or anything like that. Like that's just how I operate is you informed me of that. I assumed it was correct what you were saying, that he was showing off a nice looking house. And process that meaning is understood. So took in no data visually except that he had a hat on. Ah, this is delicious. Ah. According to animal behavior experts, most cats prefer to sleep and hang out in places with good vantage points. It comes from the instinct to protect themselves. And a high position for sleeping and resting gives them an aerial advantage for spotting any potential dangers around them. Well, I Googled earlier, why does my cat want me to watch him eat? And there were several possible answers, but the one that seems most likely, given Trouble's history as kind of a wildcat, is that he trusts us and wants us to watch his back while he eats to make sure no predators come and get him. And the fact that he's inside, it's like that's too high a level of abstract thinking for a cat. Like I'm safe because I'm inside. I mean, it also said though that some cats they just are very social and they want to do that activity together. Apparently, some cats even will, if like your family eats at regular times, will only eat when the family's eating, and then will stop eating if the family stops eating. Uh, Yeah, well, that's what I assume too. That's another possible reason is, they, well, they want like to share, I thought earlier maybe Trouble was saying to me, like basically he wants me to watch him enjoy the food that I gave him, just like I might want to watch somebody appreciate a present that I gave them or something, right? But I also compliment him while he eats. I assume he wants me to praise his eating, so I say, "Wow, you're doing a great job of eating. I'm amazed by how well you're chewing your food. You're using your teeth. Wow." I do that too. But I guess it's relatively common. I've never had a cat before that did that, so I've had multiple cats in my life. Well, you know what? Occasionally, that's why both of our cats have high self esteem. They're proud of themselves for their eating abilities, and you like when people praise your eating too. Yeah, I used to enjoy that when I was like 2 years old. What a good eater you are! I am a good eater. But I think the ultimate from my childhood, I said it before, I'll say it again because I think it's very illustrative of what FI polar looks like even in a little kid, is the uh, instance when I was like, I don't know, 3 years old or something. My parents were watching some war thing on PBS, and I said, "This program is not appropriate for little boys," and took my toys and went in my room. Anybody with FI somewhere on the front stack would say, "I don't like this. This makes me sad, concerned, fearful, whatever." So that's really a good example of how, even as a little kid, your still your configuration of attentional habits more than anything else. The three words that give you more power. You like suck my dick. Just kidding. Fuck you, mom. Those are the three words that give you more power. I do that all the time, Bobby. I walk around with the camera all the time. Here's the rest of the living room, the TV, my music stuff. There's another amp back there. See, that's the. Hey, you want to go upstairs? Sure, I can go upstairs. I don't go up there very often. Okay. This is Rachel's room, but she's downstairs right now. I turn off light. There. As you can see, her room's kind of a mess. My room's kind of a mess too. Here's the big mirror we brought from Arcadia. It if you like look at it from over here, you can see how big it is. It's like a full size mirror. Outside, you can't really see outside right now because it's dark. And it's got a little heater thing there. It serves as Rachel's table, apparently. We need to get a little table in here for her that fits between the heater and the bed. Maybe even scoot the bed over a bit more. She also got this portable closet thing. Because this room doesn't have a closet. Now, this is we call it a dedicated guest room. Yeah. I don't know how to turn this light on. There's some way you have to turn. There's a remote control around here. But, I don't know. You can see it anyway. It's got a closet. It's got your normal things that rooms have. A closet. A dresser. A bed. It's got a nice view. But you can't really see it right now. There's trees and stuff out there. It's a nice guest room for people to stay in. It's got one of these white things inside of it that you put your shoes on and stuff. It looks like Rachel started stacking stuff up in here. Extra pillows and things, I guess. We bought... What happened to the top one? Did Rachel break it? God damn it. Or Corey might have broken it. This is supposed to have a glass thing here, too. It's got this one. Well, anyway, we got that at the local place that has little tables. This is the upstairs bathroom. And this bathroom is desirable because it's the only bathroom in the house that has Q-tips. See them right there? And so if you want to use Q-tips, you have to come up here. Or we could get more Q-tips, but Corey got these, left them for us, because like, how could you live without Q-tips? Just use a small shower. Not very fancy or anything. If you get cold, you can turn on that light. It makes it warmer. It's got a toilet. You can use that to pee or poo. It works for both. We got a dual purpose toilet. This is what we call the blue room. These dumbass people, their dumbass ways. How do I even turn this on? Rachel, how do I turn on the light in the blue room? Fantastic light problems. Well, this is the blue room. It's got a bed in it. It's got a closet. It's got a dresser. It's got this other little table that we bought. We should move this little table downstairs. It's too good a table to just waste just sitting up here. This is also where you go if you want to go out onto the roof. You can go out onto the roof by doing that. Going out that window. I had to go out there and paint, you know. I'll turn off this light. Problems. Just what we need. Well, no, I'm being ironic. Listen, meow, meow, meow. Should I have to be ironic? Meow, meow, meow. Hi, Trouble. What are you doing? There's a kitty on the stairs, kitty on the stairs, kitty on the stairs, and you better beware, cause I'm walking downstairs now. Yes, I am. There's the fan. There's that window that's over there. Here are these lights, lamps, that you could fill with oil in case the electricity goes out. Here's this thing that blinks. I don't think it does anything. I've never done anything with it. But you know, it blinks. It's like a little piece of Christmas right there all year round. And here's the dining room. Of course, naturally, every meal that Rachel and I eat, we eat here. We dine in the dining room. Because we're fancy people like that. And mostly because we hate watching TV while we eat. Again, irony. If you were concerned that maybe I was telling the truth, don't be. We, in fact, never eat in the dining room or even at the kitchen table. We always eat in front of the TV. Now look, this is the curiosity I want to talk to you about. What's this light switch do? Nobody knows. Does it turn on a light in some distant location that I don't know about? Does it, is somewhere there a guy connected to electric shocks? Every time I turn it on, he goes, ah! Connected to a random home in Paris, huh? I don't know, Winston's mom. I have no idea. Okay, so now I have used a Q-tip on my ear, which brings us one step closer to nirvana. Once I have become one by ridding myself of all desire and thereby excluding any suffering from my existence, then I will be known as Zen Master Eric, the new Buddha. And I will be able to make a video in which I explain to you the secret that almost nobody on the planet knows. Just a couple of thousand people who are masters of Zen like me know this. That's it. That's how rare this knowledge is, okay? And what is the thing that I know? The self is an illusion. Oh my God, how can I not have any glasses? I can't even read how long this is for. God damn it. All right, let me put it up here and I'll look at it by zooming in on it. Zoom in. Oh, it's like backwards though. What's it say? Somebody read it to me. How long did it go in for? What does it say?
You want me to look at it?
Yes.
Anchor 1 1-inch slit and overwrap. Cook on high for 4 to 5 minutes. Let sit 1 minute.
Okay. Fair
That looks
enough.
good.
Yeah, one stepper.
One stepper.
We can
We like
add
the
this
one
to our
stepper.
repertoire of one stepper.
Yeah.
We'll see, you know,
Nice to have
I bet
variety.
I think we've had this before. It is good. But
Yeah.
I will confirm it now. Make a 1-inch slit in your thing. Put it in the microwave. Spin it round. Let it cook. What will you see when you're done? Mexican casserole. Alright, I don't know if that's 1 inch or close enough. Put it in here. I said 4 to 5 minutes. I'm gonna go 4.5 minutes. But I'm gonna split the difference, as they say. The difference being one, splitting it means dividing it by 2. And you're left with half. Half of 1 minute is 30 seconds. Ergo, splitting the difference. Am I a 4:30 guy? Well, we'll have to see if I remain a 4:30 guy with Amy's Mexican casserole. I'm starting out as one, but Amy could be somebody who, you know, it could turn out that we need the full 5, that they're erring on the side of caution that people might have super strong microwave. I think they should err on the other side of caution that people might have super weak microwave. But I'm thinking that our microwave is pretty strong. And also that other things that have had that range, if I go split the difference, then they've been turned out right. So based on all of that, even though I've never tried cooking this for either 4 minutes, 5 minutes, or 4.5, hopefully my previous experience plus knowledge about my own microwave will prove determinate as to the cookedness of my food. Because nobody wants to eat something from the microwave that still has a little bit of frozen part at the bottom or in the middle or something, right? That you just go, oh. And you pick up the empty box, they stop lying to me. Only Jesus could split the difference on microwavable cuisine every time. That's true. And you know, what's interesting is he was a huge fan of lean cuisine, which, given how much walking he did, you wouldn't think he would have really needed to watch his weight. But apparently he just preferred the flavor of it. Motivational guru. Hi, I'm Randy, your motivational guru. And today we're going to talk about how you can change your current life into something really special. The life you've always wanted. You know, each of us has so much potential inside of us that we just need to learn how to unleash. And the reason we're not unleashing it now is because we've developed some bad habits from our experience. You know, a lot of us grew up in homes that told us how to be and more importantly, what we couldn't be. Yep, a lot of us have internalized limiting beliefs. What is a limiting belief? Well, these are narratives you learn about how you're too short, too tall, too dumb, too smart, too whatever to accomplish the goal you want to accomplish, to attain the you want to be. Now, these people mostly didn't mean harm. They were just trying to tell you that, hey, I'm a little worried about you because you're only 3 feet tall and you have dreams of being an NBA basketball player. Gaze of miracles. Yes. I'm going to give everybody here a gaze of miracles of myself. And I want you guys to just bask in it and know that this gaze has been known to change people's lives forever. Right now, I'm seeing through your very soul, and I'm fixing all the things that are wrong with it. Oh, gaze of miracles. Oh, gaze of miracles. There, that should hopefully have done you guys a lot of good. There's, there's got a lot of vitamin C in it, so it should prevent scurvy. You think you were given unlimiting or delimiting beliefs and a lack of realistic expectation at home? Well, I think I was given everything a person could possibly need to be successful on conventional against conventional standards. All the support I needed, excellent parenting, etc. But no matter how good a job the censors did of raising me, they couldn't parent the ENTP out of Eric. And ultimately, for a combination of reasons, I've just always been a bit of a fuck up, you know? So, you can't fix ENTP. Maybe you very much would like to, but it's not something you can fix. Let me go around to turn off that light real quick. I forgot to turn it off. There's a subtle technique to it. Do it like this. Or is it more coquettish? It's more like this. Does Does that make you feel like I'm alluring? Oh, Eric, you're so alluring. I bet in heaven, Jesus like shakes his head and says to the Holy Ghost, God, I hate what they've done with the whole foot washing narrative. Yes, one time I stopped to show these people how to wash their feet, these dummies who didn't know how to wash their own feet. And it's like, that's what they highlight of all the various things they did? That's the one they want to highlight? It's not like I was making a pro foot washing advocacy. Don't you imagine that's happening? I told you you should have sent me back briefly to write the Bible myself, God. I don't even remember who this Paul guy is. Was he really one of my disciples? Are you sure? It seems to me like he's basically just making shit up. I really don't know much about the book of Paul. But anyway, that's how I imagine Jesus' conversations go in heaven. Well, the other kind of shocking and unbelievable thing, like Days of Miracles, is that guy who makes those super terrible movies. Not The Room, not Tommy Wiseau, but he's like this, I forget what his name is, but his movies are absolutely incredibly terrible. We're all like vague conspiracy things like, I've got the proof about the government and the corporations doing things. Rachel, do you remember what that guy's name is? No. It's like if you Google worst acting ever or something. I mean, if you YouTube search it. Let me look it up. I'll find it. Okay, let's see. Worst movie. Hmm. Might be in this best of bad acting scene thing that I've watched before, apparently. Hmm. What's that guy's name? Let me see if it's featured in here anywhere. Oh, it's in this one for sure. This guy, Fateful Findings, is the movie. Um, I mean, Fateful Findings. So here's the link to the film itself. But you probably better serve to watch like a highlights or lowlights clip of it or something. I think I watched a considerable amount of it, but it is unbelievably bad. Neil Breen. If you've not, yeah, you were right, Rachel. Neil something. It's Neil Breen. Well, like, I don't know what he thinks he's doing exactly because because it's like the storyline is so vague. Like I've got these secret documents that's gonna blow everybody's mind. That's gonna prove everything that I've been saying about how the bankers, the government, corrupt government people, they blah 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 blah. But then you never you never think that necessary to say what reveal what the papers say that's so compelling. We're supposed to understand that these papers will do the plot service job that he wants them to do, which is to to put an end to corruption in the world. Thereby, he doesn't have to consider the question, well, what might such papers look like that we're going to have this effect? What would they possibly say that's going to take down bankers, Congress people, um, heads of corporations, this wide array of different people who are all purportedly damaged by these documents for their corrupt ways, without specifying at any point what those corrupt ways are, what they've done wrong, or how these papers reveal it. There's not a lot of sex scenes in those movies. the point is, the thing that might make such a story interesting would be the specific conspiracy that he reveals, what those documents say, how they came to be. That's how you would make a story out of that idea, right? But for him, it does, like the actual story that's in the idea of getting papers that exposes some, yeah, it's just a plot point. Like he's got some kind of papers that expose some kind of misdeeds by bankers, government officials, and corporate leaders. But we never get to find out what it is. This is good. We'll have to get these things again. These Mexico bowls. They're called. They're called the Great Bowl of Mexico. Do you know that in Mexico, bowls hold a special cultural significance? Every year for the Festival of Santa Maria, Mexicans hand throw their own pots out of adobe, then parade down the middle of the Pueblo street wearing those pots on their heads. It's called Dia de la Adobe, or simply Adobe Day. Mexicans all around the world celebrate their adobe traditions. Ah, he's a terrible actor, and so are the actors he hires to be in his movies. Like when he's expressing frustration and like slamming something down or on this computer table. Oh my god, it's the most ridiculous scene in the history of the world. How many views does Fateful Findings have? 69,000 views from 1 year ago. This video is called YMS Neil Breen. YMS stands for um, Your Movie Sucks. Turn the CCs so see what it says. He does seem like he's plucked straight from a Tim and Eric skit. Wow. They're showing this clip of an interview of him, or not interview, but like him making a sort of appeal. It's sort of, you might call it a video headshot where he sort of says who he is and what he's all about. It's crazy. Wow. Really, really, really impressively bad. Skip to 44 minutes. Okay. $44 minutes. Okay, I'm at. No, it's not. It's not doing subtitles for me. Is this where the guy's drunk? There's one scene where he's dealing with somebody who's drunk, and the acting is so incredibly bad. That's so terrible. The doctor at the hospital. This is my fiance, Tim. Very nice to meet you. The doctor at the hospital. Like, let's see. If you've been around Los Angeles much, you know that desolate, unlighted strip of highway, Chavez Ravine Road, that stretches from Adobe Street to Elysian Park. It's solitary and lonely enough in the daytime. Hmm. Yeah, here's the link. Piao and Pie. It's really terrible. There's. Let's see if I can find a good scene. Like at 45 minutes. They're gonna hold hands at 46. Oh, how tender. Oh my god. So terrible. Oh my god. I can't believe it's you. I think of you every day. God, the actress must really have to act hard to act like she's into him, you know? And there's the classic scene at 50, like 54 minutes or something. Yeah, 54:16. Where he goes, his friend's bleeding to death. He gets down there, gets him on his lap, and he goes, Jim, Jim, how could you have done this? Jim. He wipes blood on his face. I can't believe you. You did it. I can't believe you. How could you have? I can't help you out of this one, Jim. He wipes blood all over his face. Goodbye, my friend. Goodbye. When there's also this is like the weird scenes when he's at his desk. Like he's just saying, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. How could he have done it? Like, what made him want to include that scene, you know? Where's the scene with the girl? Let me see if I can find that one. Is that in this movie? It might be in a different movie. 30 minutes, he says the classic line, I'm going to continue hacking into these government systems to see what I can find out about all this national and international corruption I know is going on. And then he's got, the next scene, he's got the girl who's topless but lying face down so you can't see her nips, but the other guy's lying face down next to her like a couple. Hey, babe, can we talk now, please? She's like, but my boobs, though. She just turns her head. I guess not. I guess you can't talk now. Somebody in a Rolls Royce did something to somebody. Oh, here, yeah, it's at 1:21. And this girl is not a good actress. So. Right there. 1:21, 51, and 52. That is just, it's so classic. Like, okay. You just gotta watch this. It's ridiculous. Not this part. Just give it a second. Just give it 1 second. Right, a little bit more. Here it comes right here. And then she just calmly walks away. What? You have got to go to the police now. And then he pushes her. And she just calmly walks away. Like, what? And the girl, the look on the girl's face is like, his most recent work is Cade the Tortured Crossing, 2023 mystery and thriller sci-fi. He's got other movies too. You know, it's not his only bad movie. Um, what's this one? I don't know what this one's called. Let's see. There's one where he's like out in the desert. He filmed it out in the desert. I don't know what this one's called. I developed a way to control any computer or satellite the government had. The fact that I became so individually electronically powerful scared my government as well as others. Do all of this. I can't go over this again. I'm an American. I love this country. And then he's getting into the jacuzzi with the naked lady. I think Bobby's right. Oh no! And then she's shot to death. How weird. Oh my god. So strange. But I really, based on what I just saw there, that scene, and the fact that there was a naked booby lady in the previous movie who was lying face down but had, you could, like, was naked. And that this guy, this is his primary reason for doing this is so he can have scenes with naked ladies. I think that's why, said she. He probably alerts prospective actresses right away. It does require some nudity, but it's for the art. It's because it's part of the storyline. Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying, Bobby. I think you're right. I think you're right about that. Because look, the only job you can have, whereas the employer, you can require your female employees to take off their clothes, is Hollywood. Yeah, you can work here, but it does require some nudity. But this is a gas station. Yeah, well, we'll do the nudity in the back room. It's just so I can examine you, basically. Okay. It wouldn't be okay, but it is if we're filming it, because then it's art. but I'm working at a gas station. Artistically working at a gas station. Okay? Your title, your official title is gas station employee slash actress. Okay. Well, I looked at the tape last night. We need to do that whole sex scene again. I'm sorry. I'm not happy with the tape. It didn't come out right. And I think this time what I really need to do is get some really good fondling of the breasts in. We'll need that to convey how much he loves her. And, we'll just, even if it takes a couple of hours, we'll just keep working at it and we'll get the scene down eventually, I'm sure. Get to hear myself coming from the bedroom because Rachel's listening to us, to me on the phone. Give me a second. Go close the door over here. Now I feel like it be a little noisier, not worried about voices carrying at 2 in the morning, bothering neighbors, what have you. At this point, I guess I will stay up till the soccer games. It's less than an hour away now. I was figuring I'd probably go to sleep tonight, watch the soccer games tomorrow. But it's almost through, it's an hour till the games come on. It's the last of the play at the same time group games. For the third game in the group, the two matchups start at the same time so that you don't have this phenomenon where because Team A lost in the match earlier, Team C in this match knows they only need to draw to advance, and so they play extra. They're playing with an advantage of knowing that they can err on the side of conservative, Of course, the way it actually plays out is usually at some point early in the game, one of the teams in one of the games scores. And so at that point, people in the game have some knowledge. By the second half, often, if it's not really a super close matchup, like France was up 3-1 at half last night. I think it finished 6-3. But it was pretty obvious that France was going to win. So at that point, who was it? South Africa? Knew they only needed they had to get a win to advance. They couldn't get a draw. I think that's the way it played out. I could be mixing a couple things up because, like, Brazil played Jamaica. Jamaica beat Brazil. And they, I believe, we're in the group with Argentina and Sweden. Yeah. Whereas South Africa and Italy were in the group with Panama and France. I think that's right. I could have it backwards though. But I have been really enjoying this World Cup. It's been like a satisfying ribeye steak of sports. I love like tournament approach to things. I like that a lot. Like I like the March Madness. Like playoffs, which are basically seeded tournaments. It's just with series instead of games. NFL playoffs has games. College playoffs too. Looking forward to this upcoming college football season. USC's looking to be primed to make the college football playoff, potentially win the national championship. I would say the same thing that the ESPN article said that I read today about it, which is the sports books and the FPI, Football Power Index, are underestimating USC's likelihood to win the national championship. We've got the returning Heisman Trophy winner. Lincoln Riley's done a good job in the transfer portal. He's bolstered our defense some, and our offense should be even better than last year. The only thing that could potentially interfere with our successful attainment of at least the college football playoff would be if our quarterback, what's his name? Trying to blank at the moment. I forget what the quarterback's name is. Caleb Williams. If Caleb Williams gets hurt, we might have some problems. But this year, we got the number one quarter prospect in the country coming in as a freshman, and he supposedly is lights out dynamic as well. So even if Caleb Williams does get hurt, we have a legit backup this year. So really looking forward to seeing USC kick some ass and take some names. Hopefully we can, stop some people. Last year our defense managed to live in on a turnover margin. Well, it's great the offense isn't turning the ball over. It's great the defense is getting turnovers, but you need to actually stop people. You can't just rely on turning the ball over every time. That's not going to work because you got a team that protects the ball really well. You're just going to end up giving up a lot of points and not getting any turnovers. But we should be less reliant on Caleb Williams exclusively this year. Like last year, Caleb Williams carried that team in the receiving core. USC's always got good receivers. We got a great crop of receivers this year as well, including Jerry Rice's son. The USC basketball team has LeBron James's son coming in, but he had like a heart attack or something in workouts, which happened last year to a USC player as well. He had some kind of heart problem during practices. So I don't know what exactly happened, but hopefully he's fine and hopefully he can still play basketball and everything, because obviously for that kid, his whole life dream and mission is to make it to the NBA, play basketball. Obviously, if you were unable to do that for medical reasons, it would be a terrible tragedy. But you know, hopefully everything turns out to be fine, and he's able to play his 1 year at USC before jumping to the NBA draft, which is what's predicted. I like how the NFL doesn't let people do that. You gotta stay through at least your junior year. That's why we have Caleb Williams coming back. Yeah. So I'm pretty tired, but tomorrow I get my live bands. We just finished today. I did mostly. The rest of this fly out all I had. And of course, I'm deep into diminishing returns, so I took a bunch of them today, and then took like a 4-hour nap. So obviously, not a good use of resources there. But that's the Eric way a little bit. I have an appetite for drugs. The hum of the fluorescent lights is the soundtrack. The setting, the garage. The main character, an old toothless man, musing perhaps to an audience, perhaps to no one, sitting before a phone, scratching at his nose, before finally lighting a cigarette. Why does he sit there? About what does he muse? To whom does he speak? Is this all just a fantasy in his head? And really, the phone is just a black rectangle? Well, let's watch the new hit Broadway musical, Eric Sits in the Garage, to find out. The plot of Eric Sits in the Garage. There's a man, a lot like me, named Eric, who goes into his garage to sit and smoke a cigarette. But he doesn't have his glasses. He's apparently lost them. So he can't read the chats. Anyway, as he's musing pointlessly about something, the chats are all trying to alert him to the fact that the news is announcing that a swarm of grizzly bears is pillaging, is heading right towards my house. They're trying to warn me. But obliviously, I can't read their texts, their chats, so I'm unaware until finally the grizzly bear breaks through the garage door and mauls me. The moral of the story is don't lose your glasses. It's got one of the songs is called Don't Lose Your Glasses. The lyrics are, I had some glasses and now I don't. I wonder where they went. You might think it's good to be somebody just like me, but I won't agree. Don't lose your glasses. That's basically how it goes. Then there's a song about, should I turn the fan on? It's smoky up in here, but I don't have the door open, so it's no good, I fear. It's one of the like slower songs in the musical, where it gets all dark except for the spotlight on the guy singing, and eventually Rachel comes out and she's like, it's so smoky in here. What have you been doing? Smoking up a storm. Why don't you open the door? And then we go back and forth in musical fashion, you know. It's part of a trilogy of musicals I'm making, one of which is entitled Organizing Your Kitchen. The next, Eric Sits in the Garage. And the third one, it's called Whole House Vacuum. It's about using your whole house vacuum to vacuum your whole house. And you know, obviously there's a romantic storyline to it as well, because in between, after I'm done vacuuming the bottom floor, before I vacuum the top floor, Rachel and I have sex. So there's a love story in there. There's some action scenes, like there's one scene where I have to run outside and shoot something. I don't know what it is. Maybe like it's a rattlesnake. I have to shoot it because I can't find the stick. That's the action part. Then there's a heartwarming moral to the story as well, because after I had done vacuuming, then there's a surprise inspection by the Clean Floors Committee, and I get an A plus. You probably maybe didn't know that the Clean Floors Committee was empowered to enter your home to inspect it for clean floors without a warrant, but it's true. It's been considered interstate commerce by the Supreme Court. All right, that's enough smoking for Smoking McTeapacks. About time to go inside, I think. This drink has the flavor of deliciousness as one of its benefits. You know, we always want to get the half and halves, aka Arnold Palmer's. But when they're out of them, we end up getting some other flavor, and we end up just loving it. Like last time we got Arizona Lime Rickies. Man, those were good. Those are like a new standard of flavor. But of course, we go to the store. This time they don't have any of those. They don't have any of the ones that we want at all. So we get these kiwi strawberries and some mango madness. I know I like the mango madness already, but it turns out, of course, these kiwi strawberries are absolutely delicious. The Arizona Iced Tea Company really knows what they're doing. And apparently, I'm not 100% convinced, sure of this, but apparently they're not actually from Arizona. You would think that Arizona Ice Tea Company would be from Arizona, right? But I don't think they are, actually. It's just the name of their company. Of course, it would be easy enough to verify or falsify that claim with a Sugelgurch. Have you ever had a Zona while you're coming down with Rona? Down by the bay? No, I don't think so. I don't usually find myself coming down with Rona. But if I did, I'd immediately run to the hospital and ask for anything that Pfizer produces. Please, surely you have something, some placebo that Pfizer produces that I could take. My favorite kind of placebos are made by Pfizer. Yeah, based in New York. It's not even from Arizona. Boy. I like my pizza from New York, but my tea from Arizona. My fingers are sore from playing guitar a lot earlier. Once upon a time we were having a live stream. Mr. Bobby and Winston's mom. Karma's pimp too had come along. Side cheek was not wrong, 'cause she was there. She was there as well. Eric sang a song about the people here. What they said and what they found dear. What they held close and near. These are the things that he would sing about. Like how side cheek loves that dress she has. How Mr. Bobby wants to get a cab and drive around as though he were available to give rides. Meanwhile, Acacia just wants critique. Go ahead and tell me what's wrong with me. Well, here's a critique for you, Acacia. Don't seek such critique so occasionally. Rather pursue affirmation. Oh, that's funny. An example of something unique that I love. Enjoying a game of catch, throwing around a football, and then caroling the game of catch football. Right, it's like theater work, rubbing down a table, sweeping, stacking boxes. just the icon of work. Like that's the icon of hanging out. It's just this incredibly poor one. A7, A7, A7 is A7, B7, B7 and more. If you want to make a song, you should start with A7. It's not wrong, but it is what you want to put up your butt. A7. Hey, A7, you're A7. And then you go up to D for the chorus you see. Then back to E again. Before C sharp minor and G sharp major and A become your friend. E. My bad. Oh. Once upon a time, a very old man was sitting by himself and plucking with his hand the guitar. He said, I'm old, I play guitar. I never became a star. I sit here, beard in hand, wondering where the hell I am. But I know that there's something I know that is which or that or those, these or this or he's or hose. Either way, I need some of those things now. Once upon a time, there was a very old man. He was playing the guitar by hand, strong man in a far off land. Everybody came to see him every once in a while. They didn't want to be him 'cause of his toothless smile. But they come around nevertheless to see what that old man has in store for me. Today I have in store for you freestyle little ditties. Freestyle my ditty. There. That's how you know everything's fine. Change football's name to what? Bobby? Steven? Darian? It's like shoegazer music. I woke up, I was still asleep. I was dreaming of a place where I could be without feeling darkness inside of me. Whatever could I do? We'll find it eventually, 'cause baby, I woke up Saturday. I was darkness in a sunny way. My clothes contrasted with all of my things. I didn't know what else to do, and so I sing. I love you with my blues emotion, a landscape of pastel colors. Right? I'm like, oh, don't do that. That's a perfect imitation of shoegazer emo stuff. Ha la la la. We were in the park having picnic. Ridiculous. So, I'm gonna go outside and smoke another cigarette. But, I'm gonna warn you right now, after that, decent possibility in this drink. Remembering that there's a soccer game at 3 o'clock. 2 soccer games at 3 o'clock. That's in 26 minutes. And I know none of you would want me to miss any of those soccer games. Tackle grapple ball? Concussion ball? I like concussion ball. You could call it field advancement sport. Uh, because really what it is, it's like kind of like war in the sense that you're trying to take over your opponent's territory or get into their all the way to their capital and take over the Capitol building and put your flag up, which is getting a touchdown. It's kind of like there's nothing like football, right? There are no other sports like football. Uh, Rugby shares some vague similarities with it, but the way that football is one play at a time. So it's so much more. There's so much more of a coaching aspect to it than other sports. Like soccer, once they start playing the half, there's no timeouts or anything. The coach can. What can the coach do during that half? Really yell at them from the sideline and be like, "Hey, you fuckers need to do a better job" or something. But that's about it. They make substitutions, I guess. Let's see if there are any drones out tonight. I saw one last night. Sunday night, there weren't any drones out. I don't see any at the moment. Actually, that's probably one over there. It's kind of far away, though. You're not going to see it. Yeah, it's definitely one. It's definitely moving. Yeah, it's got blinking lights on. It's just really far away. It's trippy seeing the Starlink thing the other night. I couldn't believe how like clear as day it was, and how striking. It's like living in a science fiction movie. Book, perhaps, be better. Is that one over there? Yeah, it is. Actually, a drone over there. See, but you might be able to see that one. That one's a lot closer. Actually, I'm not sure if that's one or not. That might be a star. Might just be a bright star. I don't know if you can see it. I don't think you can really see anything. Yeah, I think it's just a star. It doesn't seem to be moving at all. Well, yeah, so not too much drone activity tonight. Oh, that's one right there. Or is it? Yeah, it definitely is, because it's moving in and out from behind the trees. Over that way. I don't know if you can see it or not. Probably not. But it's flying around, doing its thing. Who knows what they're doing? Just looking down at the world, I guess. Seeing what they see. I guess I'll have to make a quick response to Club ENTP. I don't want people saying things I didn't say, attributing them to me. I'd be, I guess, more curious about the drones if they were over my house, They're always over that way or over that way, over the forest. It looks like, Um, I mean, soccer stream's not a terrible idea, but I'm gonna end the stream now and maybe record a quick response to ANTP Club, upload that, then watch soccer game. So thanks for being here. Love you all. Have a good night.